Hello everybody and welcome back. My name is Kari and today I am doing a book review on The Overstory by Richard Powers. So, at least for January, one of my goals for 2019 will be fulfilled. Anyway, The Overstory is a book about trees. I learned about it from Sophie over at Portland the Pages, who is back from her hiatus, well deserved, but I'm really excited to see her back because I love the stuff she reads and listening to her talk about it. Anyway, it's a book about trees. And it's hard to explain, but I'm gonna try. The book is a work of fiction and it follows different types of trees through the eyes of different people. There is a woman who is an engineer, there is a young man who becomes a computer programmer, there's a lawyer, there's a pseudo-amateur actress who marries the lawyer, and basically they all turn out to be some sort of environmental activists because of the way that their life interacts with these trees. And they just really want to tell everybody about how these trees have changed their life, for better or worse. I found it fascinating. It had some fantastic lines in it that really made you think, a couple of which I tweeted when I was reading the book, so I'll leave my Twitter link down below if you want to go check those out, because otherwise I would have to go find them and that's just kind of hard. But most of them had something to do, as I say, it would be hard, and what do? I go and see if I can't find it. But it has to do basically with just life and whether what we're doing is, gonna kill us all. It follows these people through, it sounds like basically the early 20th century all the way through to past 9/11, so at least 2011. And throughout the entire book, these people become more and more, not obsessed, but they become more interested and more devoted to these trees. There are chestnuts, I think there's a banyan tree at some point, there are oaks and maples, and a very, very large tree in Oregon, and that poor tree. But it really makes you feel for the trees. The writing style is also beautiful, with one caveat. The writing style is beautiful, however, this is not a book that you can rush through. It took me 2 months, in part because I was just really busy with life, but also in part because every time you sit down, it's not a book that is super fast-paced, because it's almost telling the story in the timeline of trees, and trees are theoretically going to be around a lot longer than humans, which makes us sort of a blink of an eye, as opposed to something that's going to last for thousands and millions of years. I loved learning so much about trees because this book also includes the science of a lot of the trees. For example, Patricia Westerford is one of the characters in here, and she is a dendrologist, I think. She studies trees and plants, and I think dendrologist is the name for it. And watching these people and their relationships and how they relate to the trees sounds kooky, but it's actually phenomenal. There are, I think, 4 sections of this book, big sections, and then within it, the first section has actual proper chapters because we're introducing the characters, and then after that it just becomes like this, where you have these little tree stump things, and that denotes that we're switching to another character as opposed to actual chapters. And I liked how the sections of the book matched up with what the people were doing and almost how the trees, at what stage the trees were in their lives. For example, the first stage I think is the trunk, or let's find out. The first stage, nope, that's the dedication. Oh, look at that, yeah. So the first one is roots, and then you have all these chapters where you're introduced to the people, and then you have the trunk, the crown, and the seeds. And it was fascinating to realize that you start with the roots, So these people are introduced to the trees and you watch them get to the point in their lives where they're making money, you know, they think they're happy, and then the trunk, and they start to grow and see the trees in a different light, and then you get to the crown, which is kind of their crowning glory, their achievements, what they're really doing with these trees, whether they're trying to save them or learn more about them because they realize they're really important, and then the seeds, which is sort of the end of these people's lives, and they're planting the seeds for the next generation to maybe save the trees. Because this book does talk a lot about deforestation and the impacts that it's having on the environment, society, and the economy. It was well done to read how the trees affect all of them without all of the science or studies or statistics that often permeate a scientific journal on this type of topic. I just also have to mention that this cover, I didn't realize what the cover meant when I bought it. I just thought it was beautiful, so I bought it, and it sounded interesting and very, very different. The cover is trees in tree trunk rings, which is just fantastic. Again, I didn't put it together, maybe you did, but I didn't. I just thought it was pretty. And it turns out it's pretty and metaphorical, which just makes everything better. Anyway, I hope that this book review made sense. I definitely gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, and if you want a slow-moving book that talks about society and politics and culture and the environment through the eyes of trees via people, this is the book for you. If you want something that you have no idea what's going on for the first chapter or two, this is also the book for you, because with all the characters, it does take time to get into the book and figure out how all of these people intertwine. And to be honest, some of them don't. It's kind of fun to read a book where some of the characters intertwine and some of them just stay separate for the entire book, which was a new feeling, a new idea for me. I got sidetracked again, but that's my book review for the Overstory by Richard Powers. Phenomenal book, and it made one of my lists for 2018. It was one of the most thought-provoking books. So I'm not going to include it in my 2019 list because I finished it pretty quickly into this year. But anyway, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.